Well, the Huskies took to the court one final time before the start of a new season, picking up an exhibition win over Michigan State. We'll take a look at what was sweet and what was spooky.
And I don't know if Preston Alessio is spooky unless you're an opposing defender. We caught up with the freshman midfielder, and you'll hear from him about his life and soccer goals.
And the Blazers from down south are hoping to set the rent on fire, but the Huskies are ready to defend their territory and bite the wings off the Dragons. We'll check in with the players ahead of their Week 10 matchup against UAB. Connecticut Game Week starts right now. Well, number 4 and number 22 squaring off on the hardwood sounds more like a game we'd be seeing in, late March, maybe early April, not October. Welcome into Connecticut Game Week, everyone. I'm Alexa Harley.
And I'm Sean Humphrey, and that is what Hoops fans were served at People's Bank Arena on Tuesday with a top-ranked matchup between UConn and Michigan State. Tom Izzo and the Spartans made a pit stop in Hartford, and it was an interesting one. Both Coach Izzo and Hurley agreed to tip off to allot each player 6 personal fouls rather than just 5, an extra foul. How about that? And at halftime, the UConn Hoops coach joked that he tried to go over and asked to extend that to 8 because let's just say there were a lot of fouls and a lot of whistles blown.
A little ugly, just a little bit. And in total, they committed 34 fouls, which Coach Hurley was not pleased with. And it's something he addressed after their first exhibition game against Boston College. Now, 4 Huskies had at least 5 fouls, and everyone's still working on the preseason rust, including the refs. But there are no more free games on the slate. The season tips off on Monday for UConn, and Coach Hurley says the fouling has to get under control.
We played hard. Obviously the fouls are an issue. They've been an issue in both games. But there's a lot of fouls being called in these exhibitions right now, and I just don't think that we want college basketball to start looking like the NBA, where people are dribbling into people and throwing it up at the basket. I think that the fans are not going to like that, and so we fouled a lot. I'd say that a lot of it was a lack of discipline, and we've got to figure that out. Because I do think we're playing hard. We're much better defensively, even with Taris out, than we were last year, but we got to figure out the fouling thing.
Now, while the fouling was an eyesore, there were several bright moments in this game, specifically the play from Solo Ball and Jaden Ross. Now, Solo Ball was on the Han Solo plan, smuggling shots all over the court with 18 total points on the night. Jaden Ross not far behind him, putting up 13, 1 rebound, and 1 steal. And there is arguably no other player on this UConn roster with more to prove than Ross, and here's why. Jaden Ross's name has been rolling off Dan Hurley's tongue every preseason for the last 2 years, and Hurley and Ross have been waiting for that moment that the UConn forward secured a bigger role, and it may finally be that time.
Obviously I love Joe Ross. I mean, I've seen that movie in my home a lot, streaming in my house. But I think that now let's hope that movie is now going to theaters so the public can see it. I mean, that's the Jaden Ross that we've seen on a daily basis a lot, and that was exciting to see that, and we need that, especially with Braylon out.
And just picking off of what Hurley said at the end there about Mullins being out, the Big East preseason freshman of the year is expected to miss 6 weeks. Another injury update is that the status of Terrence Reed Jr., the power forward, has been sidelined thus far with a hamstring injury, but he did warm up ahead of Tuesday's exhibition game, so he was moving, which is a good sign with the season opener on the horizon. Well, the Huskies are rolling in preseason accolades all across the board. Several men's hoop stars and a trio of dogs from the women's team have all found their names on various award watch lists. So couldn't pick just one top dog. We've got several to cover, and I suspect there could be some more where this came from. But right now, let's take a look at the standouts that we do have. We'll start with Silas Demery Jr., who was named to the Bob Cousy Award watch list, given the top point guard in the country. Now, he spent 2 seasons at Georgia, coming off a huge sophomore campaign where he averaged 13.5 points and 3.9 rebounds for the Bulldogs. Now, next up, we got Solo Ball, who has found his name on the Jerry West Award watch list, and he too is coming off a breakout season where he played in all 35 games for the Huskies, averaging around 14 points per game. Moving along, Alex Caraban, who finds himself on the NABC Player of the Year Award watch list and the Karl Malone Award watch list. Now, he has cemented himself as a great winner in UConn history with 2 national titles under his belt, and he's on track to possibly become the winningest Husky in UConn hoops history. history. Finally, for the men, it's Braylon Mullins, who I did say has been sidelined for right now with an ankle injury, but he's on the short list for the Julius Erving Award. Now, the McDonald's All-American was named Mr. Basketball of Indiana and is coming into stores with high expectations. Now, we're going to switch over to the women. Azee Fudd, Caroline Ducharme, and Sarah Strong are all on some watch lists. We'll start with Fudd. She returns to stores for her final collegiate season after being named the 2025 NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player. That is a mouthful, averaging 17.5 points in the tournament. She's on the watch list for the Drysdale Award. Up next, Sarah Strong, who has been tabbed for the Katrina McClain Award. Now, she led the Huskies in rebounds, blocks, steals, field goal percentage, and more in her rookie season. And last but certainly not least is Caroline Ducharme, who is on the Miller Award watch list. Now, Ducharme returned to the court in February after missing nearly 2 seasons to injury. Now, despite missing a huge chunk of her junior season, she has played a huge role for UConn both on and off the court. Again, here's the full list of players and the awards that they are on. Fan voting for the Naismith Starting 5 Awards begin on Friday.
Well, it's a lot of fun to talk Husky hoops, and we wanted an expert's opinions and expectations. And who better than longtime men's basketball color commentator Wayne Norman? We talked about a lot of things, his career and the things he's seen in decades of watching and analyzing UConn sports. But in a time that feels like the holiday season for Husky fans, we'll start with what he had to say about this year's basketball teams.
Something people are missing about this year's teams that maybe you've seen in interactions with the players or coaches, or just watching as as an analyst as well.
Well, I watch the men's team so closely, and I don't really have a thing that people aren't aware of yet, but I think one of the keys to this year's men's team is, can they play better defensively? Here they win 2 straight national championships. I had a feeling early on last year, and this was even before they lost the 3 games in Maui, this team was not up to the defensive standards that Dan Hurley wants, and then eventually they got knocked out of the NCAAs in the second round, which, you know, when early years, that would have been a good thing, because they were losing. First, they weren't going to the NCAAs at UConn under Hurley, and then they would play one and lose. That game against New Mexico State a couple of years ago still nags at him. But then they got the better players, and they got better defensive players. I mentioned Steph Castle, probably one of the better perimeter defenders at UConn I've ever seen, up there in the category with Ricky Moore. So they lost him last year, and their perimeter defense wasn't good. You got some of the bigs in foul trouble. Why? Because the guards in the perimeter let guys drive down the lane. Bigs had to come over, help defense, got in foul trouble. I think one thing he's tried to do through recruiting is bring in some good defensive players, Demery, people like that, Malachi Smith, to come in to shut down players on the defense and be a better overall defensive team. And I think he's on the right path for that this year. And then as far as the women are concerned, well, I don't know how you replace a Paige Beckers. How do you replace a Dinah Taurasi? Well, somehow Gino finds ways to do these things, but he's also got the, Azee Fudd is back, and Sarah Williams, a great transfer from Wisconsin. I think the women are going to be fine. I don't think there's anything really special to watch for there, except for maybe what contribution they can get from the 5 new players they have to complement the veterans that are back on this year's team, #1 in the nation.
Well, now let's take a look at some of the Huskies that were best in show this past week. UConn is in. The women's field hockey team secured the #2 seed in the Big East tournament, which is set for November 7th. The Huskies have pieced together a near-perfect conference record and finished the regular season this past week. Now, Liberty currently holds that top spot in the standings ahead of the tournament.
And stop me if you've heard this before. Julia Pellerin beats the buzzer. In case you missed it or weren't with us last week, allow us to remind you the Boston College transfer scored her first goal as a Husky last week by finding the back of the net with just over a second left in the second period. And she did it again. If you wanted to see her do it again, there it is. Game-winning goals in back-to-back weeks with nearly no time left on the clock.
Well, you get an ace, you get an ace, you get an ace, except it wasn't multiple players, it was just one. Emma Workmesseter drilled 10 aces in UConn's win this past week, setting a school single-game record. With a double-digit day, she took over the national lead with 56 aces and ranked second in the NCAA in aces per set. And I'm not done. She also notched her 10th straight match with double-digit kills. Well, coming up, Huskies and Blazers are set for a noon duel at the Rent. We'll hear from the team's leaders on the Huskies' plan to get back in the win column.
And he's a Connecticut kid who stayed home to play for the Huskies. Coming up, we find out more about UConn midfielder Preston Alessio. More Connecticut Game Week next. Hey, let's do a little recon. The UAB Blazers visit the Rent this weekend with fresh legs and an interim coach, but they may have their hands full with a motivated Husky team.
Well, that motivation, it's frustration, which kind of rhymes. I like what you did there with that script. Now, UConn lost 37-34 to Rice. All three of the defeats for UConn this year, including last weekend's, have come in overtime. And if you're wondering what went wrong, well, the answer isn't exactly simple, is it, Sean?
No, not at all. And the team had been rolling before the loss to the Rice Owls. 4 consecutive wins before Saturday's game. So it may be wise to dig into what went right.
Well, the offense has been rocking and rolling all season. The Huskies have had no trouble scoring points. Saturday was no different. Joe Fagnano continued his tear with 3 touchdowns. Skylar Bell's 80-yard house call made for a chunk of his 158-yard day. Not exactly offensive woes, but the players still say the team can do more on that side of the ball. UAB's most recent game, an upset win against ranked Memphis. Cam Edwards says that means that he and his teammates will have to fight hard to find a reset at home.
Coming off a bye week and they just played Memphis, they just beat a ranked team. So I know they're going to be coming in here fired up. So us as a team, we just have to prepare for this weekend and come out and have fun. I think it was overall a team thing. I just didn't like how we came out as a team in the second half. I think we didn't still have that juice and what it was in the first half and when we scored on the first play of the game. So I think overall, us as a team, we got to continue to have that fight and that urge and keep our foot on the pedal.
Well, the Huskies have been very pass-heavy over the last few weeks, but Edwards says that his mentality is still to find the end zone every time he touches the ball. Meanwhile, UConn's defense had problems in Houston. Saturday's game followed a few weeks of bright spots, forced turnovers, a complete performance at home, and, of course, Byron Parham's nationally recognized 14-tackle effort against Boston College. And after allowing 37 points to FIU, the linebacker is preaching a back-to-the-basics approach.
Just the fundamentals in practice, wrapping up on everything, putting our chest on tackles and not leaving our feet and rallying to the ball. We got to play with a lot more effort. We got to keep going. Like, you ain't done nothing yet. We ain't got no bowl game. Like, season ain't over, so got to finish the job. So that's what we like to say. Just keep it going. We got to have a great November.
Now, UAB quarterback Ryder Burton was named a Manning Award Star of the Week after the team's win over Memphis. Saturday's game is the first of a 3-game homestand for the Huskies, and it doesn't get any easier after this weekend. The team hosts the Duke Blue Devils on November 8th.
Well, football to football, Preston Alessio left high school with a laundry list of accomplishments: state champion, Gatorade Player of the Year in Connecticut, and 4-time All-State. UConn's midfield has been in good hands, with the freshman making an impact on both sides of the pitch. But we wanted to find out more about his goals on the pitch and his life off it. What made you want to stay home in Connecticut and choose UConn?
Many reasons. UConn's a good academic school. A bunch of my family has went to UConn. The Alessio family and / Vartelis is the largest Huskies graduating family that has come to UConn. So I come from a long line of UConn graduates, so that definitely played a role. And yeah, just the Big East is a competitive league. UConn drafts many professional players. That's my dream, to play professionally one day. So considering everything, I thought UConn was the best fit for me.
I wanted to ask you about Taekwondo. I know you got a black belt by age 7, and I was told you don't practice it anymore. But was it, I guess, an importance to just be well-rounded and do different things? Is that what kind of led you to that?
It was definitely helping me to become more well-rounded. I think at the time I didn't really value it as much as I do now, because when you're a kid, you don't want to be disciplined and have to learn all these different moves. But looking back on it, it definitely helped me grow as a person and take more value in the discipline side of things that can translate to me playing in today's game.
Is there something that you're kind of focused on, hey, when I have time off and I'm not training or getting ready for a game, this is what I like to do?
I love nature, so going on a hike or in the snowboarding season, the winter season, I like to snowboard. In the summers, I like to mountain bike. I like to do anything really outdoors, just spend time outside rather than be inside or on my phone.
I noticed that your dad's pretty active as well. Like he bike races. So what's that like, just coming from, I guess, an active family?
Yeah, it definitely has influenced me a lot. Like seeing my dad go on 100-mile bike rides and just keep doing it the same thing next week, and him lifting weights, and my mom also going to the gym, and my sister being athletic, playing sports. Like, it was kind of destined for me to be the same way, but it definitely has impacted me and learned from them, like their work ethic, and that translated to me.
How do you stay grounded when, you know, I know you've been performing well for a long time, like, you know, you go back to the high school level, you know, just consistent piling up accolades, and now, you know, putting in good minutes on a very good team as a freshman?
My faith, it really keeps me grounded through any situation I go in, not even just soccer, but all throughout life. I just stay grounded in my faith and trust in God that He's got a plan for me, and I just think that has carried over from a young age to high school, and now hopefully through the rest of my college career.
What's your next level? Like, what do you think you're pushing toward over these years at UConn?
Hopefully I'm pushing to obviously grow as a player and help my team win a championship. That's really the goal here. So I guess I just got to keep working, push my teammates.
Well, still to come, the countdown to tip-off is in the single digits for the UConn Huskies. When we come back, we'll sit down with one hoop standout and get his insight into what this group of ballers is all about. More Connecticut Game Week when we come back. Well, at the start of the show, we broke down this past week's win over Michigan State and what was UConn's final exhibition game before another season tips off. Now, one Husky jersey that fans didn't see zipping up and down the court was Terrace Reed Jr. The senior center has been sidelined so far in the preseason with a hamstring injury, but there is hope that he will see action in the season opener next week. And since he's been off the court so far, he's gotten a pretty close look at this current Huskies team. And the 6'11" big man sat down with me last week to share his insight into what this UConn group is all about. What excites you about this UConn team that you're on right now?
I feel like the team camaraderie and the energy. The energy is different in the atmosphere. Like, you can really feel it. Even during practice, like, guys just come into practice and we compete every day. So I love that about this team, and I'm ready for the season to start.
What feels different about this energy, maybe compared to where you guys were last year when you started?
I feel like we're more competitive this year. Like, in practice, you can really feel like we have the gray and blue team. Like, we're going at it every single day. Every day is a challenge. Every day is competitive. We got even coach literally laughing during practice. That didn't really happen that much last year, so we're just going at it every day.
You have a unique look at this team because you didn't play in the exhibition game. You kind of got to just watch. What did you see?
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of new guys this year, and I feel like it was great for them to go out to the exhibition game and really just play. I mean, first game in front of the fans, first public game against someone else too. So them going out there, just playing, executing, watching on film, we take the good, bad, and the ugly. We learn from it and we grow.
Some of the ugly last year was definitely some of the inconsistencies on defense. Where do you feel like you guys are right now as the season's on the horizon?
I feel like we're a lot better, a lot further along than we were last year, but we still have a lot to go. Like, we're good now, but I feel like we could be great, even better than that. So learning from the exhibition. You
guys have quite the gauntlet to start your season. 5 top 20 opponents in about a month span. Is there a game of those 5 that you look at and think this will be the test to show what we're made of?
Really, all of them, really. I mean, it's like you said, it's a gauntlet. It's going to be a tough non-con schedule, and it's really going to prepare us for the Big East, because the Big East is brutal, it's rugged, it's everything that you want as a player. So I feel like the non-con is going to be a really good test for us to see where we are as a team.
Malachi Smith was a guy that got a lot of talk after that Boston College game, just from like the violent offensive play that he had. You guys all knew that was coming, obviously. Are you kind of happy that he's getting a little bit of flowers?
Yeah, the recognition, yeah, I mean, and that was just like step one for him. Defensively, offensively, like, he's a dog. He brings that New York grittiness like Haas did last year. Like, that's the type of player he is.
So when you talk about this lineup between yourself, Solo, and Alex, you three are pretty much almost locked down as starters, obviously barring your hamstring. But those 4 and 5 spots, it could kind of be anybody's game. How competitive are you guys amongst yourselves trying to get to that starting 5?
I feel like you can't, like, it's like I said, it's an everyday thing. Like, it's going to be so competitive, and you cannot relax here at this program. Like, that's what I learned last year. Like, there's no room for relaxation to get comfortable. Like, it's always going to be next man up, and someone coming off the bench is going to be just as hungry to start as anyone else. So it really keeps us on our toes. And, yeah, I mean, we could go 15 deep with this team. Like, I love it. Like you said, like, watching from the sideline, you can really see, like, the talent we have from the guys starting and the guys coming off the bench, the new guys coming along. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this year.
Another busy week of Husky athletics is looming. Football is on the road and a basketball double date is on the slate. We'll take a look at what's happening next week in stores and beyond. And this is the last weekend that Husky fans will have to spend without college hoops. And this UConn student body is ready to take over Gamble once again. I spent an afternoon on campus chatting with some students. That story when we come back.
Well, the point of going to college is to get a degree, to get a good job, right? That's what we were all told. We all know this, but let's be honest. When you get to go to UConn, getting to see the Huskies front and center on the court, that's a pretty big selling point.
Hey, I'd be buying myself. You can't neglect your studies, but when you've got this high caliber basketball product right outside your dorm, it's hard not to be excited. And I spent some time out in stores this week asking students how they're feeling with the men's and women's season tipping off next week, and their answers did not disappoint.
This is my first year here at UConn, so I'm really excited to go to the game.
I think we have a pretty good depth this year, and they'll be pretty good.
I mean, I know we're going all the way, definitely.
If you look at the schedule that Dan Hurley decided to come up with, honestly it looks really strong, and it just shows that he has confidence in the team.
You know, the biggest thing is we definitely lost a few key players in the past few years, but I think with their continued successful, amazing coaching that we've experienced in the past 4 years, I think this year might be a big turnaround for UConn for sure.
You know, Florida gave us a hard time last season, but I think we're taking that same mentality, the grind set we have at UConn, bringing it to this semester. We're going to go all the way. I have to agree.
We come back every 10 years, every 5 years, however years it might be. So yeah.
Tickets are going to be flying out the door right at that 10 p.m. mark when they go live. So if we get a ticket, definitely go in. If not, definitely be live streaming that at the house, you know, with the Domino's pizza and the chicken wings. You got, you know, as you said, got to live it up, taking it all the way.
A lot of people will take some tents and they'll camp out over here in front of Gamble when they have tickets to get the best seats, obviously. Tickets are competitive to get, but always just get with friends and try to get them and have some fun.
Like, you have to log on to the website an hour before just to get tickets, so the hype is really there. And, you know, just you gotta get them early, get it with your friends, and it's gonna be all right. You're gonna have fun. Go UConn!
So obviously those fans are excited for the return of college basketball, and they're not the only ones. We're ready. UConn Nation is ready, and honestly, the world is ready, Alexa.
The whole world is ready. And we have just a little over 140 days to go until the big dance. He's got a calendar countdown set on his desk over there. And that time will fly by, especially with some of the games that we have on the slate for November and December. And it's not just basketball. There's a lot happening this upcoming week. So let's take a look at what's in stores. Well, it is time. The UConn men's hoops team officially begin their quest back to the basketball mountaintop with their first game of the season Monday. UConn will host New Haven at Gamble at 7 p.m. Now, fun fact, since 1999, which was the year that I was born, to put this all into perspective, the Huskies have only ever dropped 2 season openers. The more you know, Sean.
The more you find out. The Huskies are back at the Rent this weekend, hosting the Blazers from Birmingham. UAB is coming off an upset victory, taking down ranked Memphis, so you know the Blazers are feeling the fire right now. But the Huskies have that fuel after a tough weekend at Rice and are hungry to get back in the win column. I see what you did there. And a win this weekend for UConn would make them bowl eligible.
Well, due to the government shutdown, the Armed Forces Classic between number 20 Louisville and number 1 UConn has to be moved stateside, but the only thing the Huskies hope to shut down are the Cardinals on the court. UConn leads the series 20-3 all-time against Louisville. In fact, the Cardinals' last ever victory against the Huskies dates all the way back to 1993, where they won by just 3 points. 93, also the same year that arguably one of the greatest Halloween movies debuted. Sean, any guesses?
Is it Halloween Town?
No, it's not Halloween Town, but you're in the same wheelhouse. It's kid-friendly.
Okay. That was the only guess I had, and I was pretty confident
It was
for that
Hocus Pocus was the one that came out in 93.
Okay.
So I'm sure we might be watching that this weekend, get a little Halloween spirit going.
See what happens.
But we'll see you next week on Connecticut Game Week. Thanks for tuning in with us.